Welcome to the second session. In this session, we will touch on the global workplace model, explaining and introducing the rope, and addressing the emerging image representing the conflict, implications of the here and now. The introduction of an object that will lead to an action is meant to give an opportunity to change the picture in such a way that in any way that the client desires. The Christoph Koch, in the recent Scientific American Brain issue, reported on a particularly interesting model of consciousness which may be relevant to the paradigm that I've developed. According to Bernard Bars, a cognitive scientist, all pictorial, auditory, or written information is placed on a central, what he calls blackboard, which becomes a shared repository. Bars claims it is the act of broadcasting data from the blackboard throughout the system, whether cybernetically or by biological means, which makes it conscious. So consciousness, according to the global workplace model that he devised, is just a brain-wide sharing of information, which is in the memory buffer of the blackboard. So the buffer not only processes recent sensory input, but can call up memories from the past and move it into the buffer. I suggest that by asking a person to bring forth a memory of a conflict and a particular person related to it, and then presenting into the blackboard or into the buffer the image of the rope, the brain can process the new information into a different picture. So why am I introducing a rope? At a recent workshop, I was asked this question, and the rope is a universal image, I think, used for a variety of tasks. It can be a clothesline, a rope in a boat, a rope that serves like a leash in an animal, a rope ladder, a rope bridge, a cord. In other languages, it can even be an umbilical cord, a noose, a lasso, a skipping rope, a rope used for tug of war, to mention just a few. But another very, very interesting aspect of the rope is that you can only pull an object with a rope. You cannot push it. So the image of a rope can trigger many possible ways of using it with the person with which we have the conflict. Cognitive processes can now make use of the sensory and memory input that is in the global workplace. Therefore, when I suggest that a person use the rope in any way they see fit with the subject of their conflict, an image may appear. The image that appears, sometimes the person rejects the image and does not use that particular image for their own reasons, and perhaps uses another image. But it depends what the person chooses to use, and that's what he actually will put on the paper. It is important to discuss this drawing, find out about the quality of the rope, and listen carefully to the story unfolding about how the person now perceives the situation from the drawing itself. It is a picture which describes the conflict as is seen by the person at this point in time. the here and now aspect is crucial, since the eventual resolution which is arrived at is also valid for here and now only. Because if there is new information that happens and enters the equation, we may need to repeat the process again. So to sum up session number 2, in this session we learned about the concept of central depository area in the brain, Barr calls blackboard, from which all information is shared throughout the brain, thus allowing old and new information to be processed in the buffer of the blackboard and allow us to change a picture. We learned about the rope and how the new picture of the conflict may be emerging using the rope. The next 3 sessions will be experiential. I will work with an art therapy student and who agreed to be the client and go through the entire process. The slide will show you the materials you will need at home and the materials we are going to be using in the 3 sessions. You can use these materials at home during the session, while we are doing the sessions, or you can look at the sessions and use and practice the process later on your own. I suggest that you perhaps ask a friend to practice it with you and change positions once one of you become the client and the other one the therapist, and vice versa. So thank you very much for being with us for the 2nd session, and hopefully you'll come back for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th session.